Yeah, to get personal. So one thing I've realized here 25 years later was that I started the business to run away. I started the business to run away from really like the big like breaking point for me was getting let go of a junior sysadmin job because I didn't realize that the person at the front desk who shared a last name with the person whose name was on the building needed to get her Jeopardy online before anyone else did. Not knowing the office politics, not knowing the who you need to talk to first and all that. And I was like, I never want to be in this position again. I'm going to set myself up so that I never have to deal with this again. And instead of facing that, I ran away for 25 years.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the BMK Vision podcast. As you know, we're just having a chat here, just a couple of folks talking about IT, talking about business, talking about whatever we want to talk about because it's our time together. So I'm going to ask our friend David, how did you get yourself into this crazy IT world?
So I started in IT, man, 25 years ago as a self-employed guy. I've been into computers since my dad brought home, the first Apple II GS back in the 80s with the green screen with typing my papers up in the second grade. I was like, I don't have to do a second draft. Holy smokes, this is it. Yeah. So I've just been into it. I bought in early.
That's awesome, and that's like kind of what 2000 you've been in as an IT professional. So you probably in the early 90s getting that Apple computer,
Yeah. Yeah. Mid 80s.
mid 80s even. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, just kind of the evolution of having computers in school and then in high school
Mm-hmm.
there was a class for it. I'm kind of an 80s guy myself and just not finding any interest. It never talked to me the way it
Mm.
did to so many folks that I know. And then I got like in the 90s, I got some sort of like word processor computer with a little screen and a keyboard and
Mm-hmm.
it's like this long. And I just still didn't know what to do. So that's fun that you've been in the game. And then you mentioned, 25 years ago, your first foray into being professional with it was being self-employed.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd always been, into computers, fixing for friends, and got the classic advice like, "Hey, you should do this as a business. Print up some flyers and go around town." And so, I tried that out. I was a Craigslist trunk slammer, as we say, for a number of years. I'd had IT jobs. Or kind of concurrently had IT jobs, working little sysadmin jobs, junior sysadmin. Um, but that sort of employment didn't really it's not the employment didn't work out. I didn't work out in it. And so
Right.
I really liked that self-employed, set your own hours. But like I said, that was 25 years ago. So things have
Yeah.
changed.
That's around the same time I got into IT and I'd called a guy like yourself off of Craigslist and his name is Pete in Buffalo and he was I just called him Sneaky Pete because it sounded funny, but he came over, worked all morning, all day long on my computer, and he was really cool. So we were just chopping it up, and after he was there for 5, 6 hours, and he was done, I was like, Pete, what do I owe you? And he said some ridiculous number, like $33 or something. I was
Oh,
like, Pete,
wow.
what are you talking about $33? And he's like, well, I
Hmm.
charge this much, but we were chatting quite a bit. I said, so what's your hourly rate? And I don't know anything at the time. And I said, what's your hourly rate? He told me whatever it was, and it just clicked for me. I was like, so you're telling me that I can go out and sell your services, fill you up, and you're only going to charge me that much? He's like, oh
Hmm.
man, I'd be thrilled if you did that.
Yeah.
So the next 3 years was me just hiring a bunch of salespeople and filling him up and then meeting other folks and still didn't know how to operate a computer beyond just opening up a browser or Word. And so that's how I got my start was with a guy like you. And Pete's
Hmm.
probably still out there banging around and hopefully charging a lot more than he did back then.
Hopefully, right? Yeah.
So as you went through that journey of like going, that trunk slamming and, probably making a nice living, where did that continue to evolve over the next, 10 or 15 years beyond day zero?
Yeah, so past day zero, I was doing lots of home users, Craigslist, small ads, charging $30 an hour just to go reformat PCs, install Windows 2000.
Yeah.
So really like low tech stuff. I was in college at this point. So I went off to college. I'd come back and do it in the summer. And then when I was out of college, just continued doing this. And gradually the home clients took me into their businesses. And so I got to work the businesses. And then eventually, went to that managed services model back in 2015.
Yeah. That was a big transition for most
Yeah.
people. What did that look like for you? Now it's, boy, I have to buy a stack of things. I have to buy some
Hmm.
tools to be able to do this. How did that transition look for you?
Yeah. So it was really exciting. I remember being super, super jazzed about I called it being on the same side of the table as my clients,
Mhm.
where previously, the better I did at my job, the less they pay me because it took me less time to do it. So I'd be constantly the better I got, the worse off I do. So and then there was always that struggle of the how many hours were on the invoice, and they're like, oh, this is too many hours. I was like, but I worked all night. I already gave me 2 hour discount. So all this stuff kind of went away. It all disappeared with the managed services stuff because I did the all you can eat seat price, all in stuff, and so it was really helpful to say, hey, so this is the flat rate. I'm going to work to make sure you don't have problems. Period. And if there
Mhm.
are, I'll take care of them. So that was really exciting, getting to turn these hourly break fix clients into my first crop of managed services clients.
Right. Right. And that must have been around the time that we met each other for the first time, and you were all in. You came out to Chicago, I think, attended a
Hmm.
peer team meeting. And
Yeah,
what was that like, going from just like you're grinding, doing your thing, managed services model transition? You kind of go from like, hey, I'm just doing my thing, to coming out to Bering McKinley and saying, oh, there's a whole business model around this. And how did you feel when all that kind of just got shot at you?
it was a lot. It was definitely drinking from the fire hose. Um, Yeah, there was a lot of upgrades of the business, of the life, of how I did the work. Going from downloading trial versions of anti-spyware, whatever, to getting the Bitdefender Gravity Zone, or whatever products it was. Like everything took the next tier up
Yeah.
in terms of like what the product could do, and so it ended up being an incredible uh, upgrade of my both my income but also the expenditures
Yeah.
in both directions, and then getting to meet everyone at the peer group, seeing that everyone else was going through the same struggles, the same sales pipeline, overhead. We'd all read the same books, the E-Myth and Gary Pica's book.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was really neat coming to Chicago for that.
And then at some point after that, and I don't know how many years it was after that, you finally just said, "You know what? This is not for me." Am I
Hmm.
remembering correctly? You just kind of said, "I'm out." What was that? What was that transition like? What was some of the drivers to lead you to that point?
Geez, yeah. So I had done okay doing the MSP thing for close to 10 years. I think I was at like year 8 or 9. Been doing okay. Still had the same crop of, first MSP clients. I'd landed a whale of a client the year before. Double the size of everything. I had to get a whole bunch of new tools. I had a guy under me finally. I had an admin person. They ended up leaving the very next year. It was a whole like management change up, switcheroo, underhanded backdoor dealing where like they wanted to bring in their own people but couldn't without a proposal thing. So, anyways, I was out and all of a sudden stuck holding the bag on thousands of dollars worth of tools that I
Mhm.
couldn't do anything with. And at
Mhm.
that point, I was already feeling the pinch. I was already feeling like, you know what, this might not be it.
Yeah.
Um, and so then I found a guy to take care of my clients, kind of offboarded them to him. I got a recurring revenue from him off that, and we worked out a deal. And then found a job doing this kind of work for another MSP, which has been the best thing I ever did for myself, honestly.
Yeah, that's terrific. That's a tough transition for a lot
Hmm.
of folks, and I think it's happening this very second. It's um, you know, j building any business is just kind of like a terrifying endeavor,
Oh yeah.
and it's really about how long can you stick it out before something hits, and then
Hmm.
knowing, I don't have the juice for this. I got the juice to be a great, employee for someone else. I can be
Hmm.
amazing, but the strain on family and ourselves and our own brains, man, it's a lot. So was there
Yeah,
this kind of
it's so
sense of
much.
breathing again once you kinda
Oh my
got into
God.
the
Yeah. Once I took my first like PTO, I was like,
Right,
wait. You mean I can not work and then my phone's not gonna ring? Holy
right,
smokes. Because I mean, every vacation I would take, I'd be on borrowed time. I'd be like walking this tightrope of like, oh God, are they gonna call? Are they gonna call? If they do, am I gonna be reachable? And what can I do? And how much can I do from here? And when do I have to get back to a computer? And it was just always so much stress. And like I would tell people, I remember I would talk the talk in a big way, but like, oh yeah, being my own boss, set my own hours, I choose the da 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 da's, and like, but it just ultimately just wasn't for me. I just wasn't that guy, and I really I'm coming to find out need that structure that
yeah,
doing my own business just didn't provide because there wasn't time to make a structure. It's like building a sandcastle and the tide is coming in and like you have to like deal with so many different things all at once. I have to do the tech work and the bookkeeping and the admin and the sales and all like everything all at once. And it's just
yeah.
too much. Every part of it suffered in the meantime, even though I talked the big game.
Sure, sure. You know, I've my best friend in the world. He's I would call him the reluctant entrepreneur. He had
Hmm.
led this amazing, interesting life through his early to mid 20s, and then started like looking for those traditional jobs. He's in a different industry, and for him, he just couldn't find somebody to hire him that he wanted to do the same thing that they wanted him to do, and
Yeah,
so he
sure.
was about 15 years of like, gotta book a clients, just work them nonstop. And, in his world, there are no emergencies. It's just a never ending flow of like, I got to do this stuff. And
Hmm.
man, he was miserable every single day.
Mm.
And then he finally, all the stars aligned and he was able to get a job with the county he lives in. And I've
Oh,
never
that's
seen him
good.
happier, but just
Yeah, that's
the
nice.
watching that transition. So before him, I had a hard time, kind of finding the empathy for folks that are like, I'm doing this business. I'm not loving it. It's not really clicking for me. I was just like, well, grow up, man. Just try harder. But watching my own friend kind of go through that, it's like, oh yeah, this is an odd life, an odd
Yeah,
life.
for sure. I mean, it's very much that, what is for people, what isn't for people, judging a fish by how well it can climb a tree, or again, judging my monkey by like how well it can swim. Like
Right.
it's different aptitudes.
That's
And
right.
and it's really funny that transition. They talk about it in the E-Myth book of the the baker being like, oh, I can bake pies, like I can be my own boss, and realizing like very quickly you stop baking the pies and you
Uh-huh.
start doing the things that like you didn't want to do in the first place.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So in all of that time, would it be fair to say that your kind of curiosity and love of technology didn't diminish?
Oh, not at all. No, no,
Yeah.
it's gotten even stronger here, which is amazing. Like I'm in this great job. Have an amazing team, and the biggest transition for me has been kind of this mind shift of get to versus I call it get to versus have to. Where
Mhm.
when I first like started thinking about working for someone else, I was deep into like branding and messaging, and I was like, oh, but if I do this, I won't get to design the logo. I won't get to
Right.
choose like just the right weight of cotton tee to print the logo on, just the right placement, and then like eventually that get to turn into, oh, I don't have to. You mean like someone else can do this? And oh
Yep.
wow. So like we have like a whole like infosec division at the company. And like it's not just me like paying too much for Huntress or like,
Right.
buying 200 seats that I'm never gonna fill. Like
Right.
it's right. And so like I don't have like I don't get to, but also I don't have to. And like that transition of the like, oh, I don't get to versus like, oh, I don't have to. Like whoo saw it's been amazing. And
Yeah.
I get to
Yeah.
focus on the technology that I love.
That's right. That's right. And when you were, looking for the right opportunity, was there a particular area of IT you were trying to find a niche into, or kind of just a generalist like, hey, I just want to work with IT, with technology? Where were you on that spectrum?
Um, You mean transitioning to this latest job or just like getting into IT
Yeah, yeah,
period?
transitioning into some
Oh,
any sort of job. Yeah.
I figured I would stay in the MSP space
Okay.
because it always seemed exciting. It always seemed interesting. I was looking at government jobs, government
Uh-huh.
sysadmin type jobs, county, city,
Uh-huh.
stuff like that. But I figured MSP would be a pretty good space because I thought, and this is really funny, I thought one of my big value adds was that I would bring all my clients with me.
Mm.
Uh, go to find out, like, none of the people hiring wanted my little onesie twosie clients. Like,
Right,
they're
right.
great clients, love them to death, but they like did not fit the mold of any place I wanted to go. And
Right.
realizing that I didn't have to take them with me was such a like, man, everything that I thought was gonna change changed, and everything that I feared changed would did change. Like I had so
Okay.
much trepidation, like, oh God, what if I don't have my clients with me? What if I don't have them? And like, I don't have my clients. Like I don't have this stuff, and like everything is upside down from where it was a year ago, and it's for the absolute best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. That was watching my buddies through the same thing. It's he got that county job and he's like, yeah, but these people, I've been serving them for years, and I'm relying on. I think it was a good couple years that he kept a couple of them, and he'd work their stuff nights and weekends, and
Hmm.
then he finally was just like, let's help you find someone else. Like it didn't serve him anymore to do that work
Yeah.
for those people. He's like, I've got enough to do in this role. I love this role. I get to just focus on the
Hmm.
part that I love. And yeah, that's cool, man. That's really cool. I'm happy for you. And is that just a couple years now, or where are you on that?
I'm coming up on 1 year anniversary here in April, so it's
Mm,
still relatively new to me. Um,
wow.
but it's been the greatest trip of my life, man. Like the team I get to work with, the support I have, my bosses are great. Like, and it's so cool because it's a small enough company that I get to sit here and watch it grow. And so I
Right.
do get to focus on the stuff that I love to focus on, but also like I get to do like because I have so many I'm gonna say weird little skills from having to do everything at my own MSP. I can
Uh-huh.
step in and be like, oh look, we need, a self-hosted version of this, or we need to, like the client's website, has an out of date PHP, whatever. Like I have so many like little skills that I can just jump in and take care of small things as needed.
Yeah,
Um, but I don't have to like do the books anymore. I
that's
don't
right.
have to. Yeah.
What when you think about your timing, you're a year into that freedom, should you have done it earlier? Should you I mean, what do
Oh
you think?
man,
Is there
yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Like I think the biggest thing I took away, and this is something my spouse said, like when I bring up my fears of like, oh, but what about this? And I'm gonna lose everything that I'd worked on. And like if I sell the company and I don't get a job and this and that, and like they just say like, and what if that's okay?
Mm,
And what if
mhm.
that's okay?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm not gonna be in charge of my hours. Like, and what if that's okay? Like, and I'd
yeah,
never considered that. I'd only had this like big stacking list of fears, but never
yeah,
thought like, okay, and if they happen, what if it's
yeah,
okay? Like, and so yeah, I should have. Obviously I should have done this like much sooner. Like
okay,
the realization that something's not for you is not a failure.
right,
Like, I think the guy like succeeding is cool, but failing is cooler because
okay,
like you learn so much through failure. Like the guy who's failed 50 times knows 50 things. The guy who
yeah,
succeeded on the first try knows one thing. So like
yeah,
you learn so much, and you learn so much about yourself, you learn so much about your process, and just learning that something is not for you is a success in and of itself. You get to
yeah.
know that about yourself. You get to know that you have yourself now, you have this freedom to go do something else that's going to be even more exciting, more attuned to you. Yeah, it's not a failure at all to say this isn't for me.
That I this morning I happened to talk to another good buddy of mine, 30-year friend, and he had a construction company in the Northwest, and he's had that company for 25 years, and tomorrow he left the company. It's always just done okay. and he left the company about a year ago, and tomorrow is the day that his partner kind of finalizes the sale, purchasing my buddy out from the building they bought, and the
Hmm.
final, kind of payment for his equity. And I was like, dude, that's awesome. Like, I'm really happy for you. He's heading off to Mexico in a couple of days,
Hmm.
and he's he was saying he was like, yeah, I'm excited. And he said, I think the thing that just kind of tickles at my brain is, I got into this business. I'm definitely, fiercely independent, really, wanted to shoot for the moon. And here I am, 30 years later, 30 years older, and it's not the payout that I anticipated. It's not where I thought 10, 15 years ago I'd be in this moment. It's still a
Hmm.
great number, and I'm super happy and grateful. But he said, I think that's part of that journey of like deciding to start your own business for a myriad of reasons, but somewhere in there, that's that, like, I may be able to exceed my financial expectations greater than if I do W-2. And he said, it's just tickling my brain. It's not driving
Hmm.
me. It's not driving me nuts. It's just tickling. How about you? Was there any part of that transition to say, hey, I started this business to see if I could outperform my W-2 capabilities? Was that any part of the equation for you?
We'll be right back with more, but first, here's a quick message from Bering McKinley.
Most MSPs are constantly busy, chasing tickets, projects, and fires. But without structure, it's hard to know if the business is really improving. Vision from Bering McKinley is the system that helps you work on your business, not just in it. It connects leadership strategy with daily execution. Vision aligns people, process, and performance, creating clarity and rhythm from goals to results. And the Vision app brings that structure to life, helping you create policies, track goals, review KPIs, and collaborate with your BMK consultant all in one place. Behind it all, Jetson AI, your assistant inside Vision, helps you find answers, generate insights, and take action faster. With Vision, you gain visibility, accountability, and measurable growth. You're not guessing, you're improving. Vision, Jetson, and the Vision app, your path from strategy to results. Start transforming your business today.
All right, let's get back to the conversation.
No, that never was.
Okay, well, then that's even better.
Yeah, to get personal, like, so I one thing I've realized here 25 years later was that I started the business to run away. I started the business
Mm,
to run away from like really like the big like breaking point for me was getting let go of a junior sysadmin job because I didn't realize that the person at the front desk who shared a last name with the person whose name's on the building needed to
mm,
get her Jeopardy online before anyone else did. Like,
mm.
not knowing the office politics, not knowing the who you need to talk to first and all that. And I was like, I never want to be in this position again. I'm
Yeah,
never like I'm gonna set myself up so that I never have to deal with this again. And instead of facing that, I ran away for 25 years.
yeah,
And so the me starting my own business, like I built up all this framework around like, yeah, I'm independent, yeah, like fiercely independent, like your friend said. Like I would say that about myself, but like, boy, do I crave that structure. Like I
yeah,
really need it, but I told myself I didn't, so that I didn't have to deal with that rejection, with that pain of like not knowing how to do the office thing.
dude.
So
Uh,
yeah.
I can relate to that so much. I had, a few jobs, no career jobs, in my life before starting my company, and it was like I I I'm in awe of people that can like work for a really huge company or people that can stay at a company for 15, 20 years. I could never figure out how to do that. And I
Hmm.
I used to, and I still wonder why I can't, but I did it's like and I would always feel very not vulnerable, just ill prepared. I felt like I was in high school where it's like I don't know how to do this. I know how
Hmm.
to be me, but that doesn't usually jive very well with others. And so, yeah, no, I can really relate to that. Like, I this doesn't feel right to be here. So
Hmm.
I ran away. Yeah, it is. I'll have to contemplate on that. But yeah, I ran away and started my own thing, and I can see where you would categorize that as running away, and now you're more mature and more
Yeah.
stable, and say, "Oh, I actually can do this. I just needed to find the right home."
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly. Yeah, right. I just needed to find the right place to be, the right team. And what's so great about this job, it lets me do the things that I'm super passionate about.
Yeah.
And like I come in, I do the work, I get to go home, I put in some extra time when I want to.
Yeah.
But like I get to have everything that I thought I wanted to have when I was trying to do my own business. And I get the take home pay, like it's just bonkers what I can manage to take home versus what I
Right.
was taking home before, because I'm not spending $8,000 a month on a whole stack that I'm only utilizing 50% of because I don't have enough seats. Like the whole thing was just like a stress city up to here.
Yeah.
But all that is just gone, and like it's what if it's okay? It is okay. It's amazing, in fact.
That's beautiful. And, because you've made this transition, you've made it successfully. I want to ask you, during your journey, especially since you really adopted the managed services model in around 2015,
Hmm.
I sit in a unique position where I get to just talk to dozens of owners every single month. New strangers to me, new friends to me, plus people I've known for 10, 15, 20 years. Just so many every year. And one of the things that I just continually observe is uh MSPs tend to get stuck, and they get stuck at like 500,000 in revenue, or they get stuck at 1 million in revenue, which will sound very different, but it's the same thing. It's just
Hmm.
whatever the value of their network of who they could get referrals from, it, stops at 500 or stops at 1 million. Then they live this life of pain from there, because the rise up to their 500, their million, it's fun, it's exciting, you're getting tired, it's all the things. But then once you reach that peak, um, there's so much pain and like, well, how do I grow it? I want to grow.
Hmm.
I'm afraid I'm going to lose a client. And they live this life for 5, 10, 20 years, just not quite figuring out that way to get to the next step. And I'm going somewhere with this.
Hmm.
They end up, I look at them and I say, if you would just stop trying to strive for that next level and focus on that 500 or that million in revenue you have, and just say, my job is to protect this and make it wildly profitable. If you'd put
Sure.
all that energy into that, instead of bending yourself sideways trying to figure out how to grow, that 20 years is going to go by no matter what. Do you want to have that 20 years of you keeping, 40, 50% of that revenue? Or do you want that 20 years to pass and say, I've spent hundreds of thousands trying to figure out how to
Hmm.
grow. And at the same time, my business wasn't as profitable as I wanted it to be. When you think of your time in MSP, does any of that relate to you? Like I maybe I was stuck, or I didn't know what to work on, or I was focused on growing and not so much in just doing. Where is there home for that? Any of that for you?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the thing that held me back was lack of process, um, lack of a real sales pipeline, because I just didn't have the bandwidth to do any of it. I remember like having opportunities to buy ads in a place or go to like a networking event or sponsor a thing that would have like been just right up my alley. And my biggest fear was like, oh, what if it works? What if I get all these
Mm,
clients? I'm sunk. Are you kidding me? I can't handle all these clients. Like
right.
when my main fear being, what if I get more business? Really should have been the clue, right? Uh,
Yeah.
I could have been doing so much more to build something more sustainable than what I had. I was just treading water forever because I didn't have like I I I shouldn't have been in there in the first place.
Mm, right. Would you say that if I said to you that 90% of the MSPs that get stuck at the $1 million mark, um, just would say, I'm not good at sales. I don't know how to manage sales. I don't feel comfortable. And that's about 90% of them. Would you fall into that camp, or are you built with that? Hey, I'm actually really good. I just had to throttle myself. Like where on that spectrum do you think you live?
So I have a very skewed statistic here. I closed 100% of the deals that I was put in front of.
Hmm.
But that pool is very small. The pool was like with extremely qualified, I've been working with them already for years, kind of clients, but it wasn't so much that I didn't, I mean, obviously I didn't know how to make sales. Once I got into the room, I did all right. It's the pipeline, and it's the rigor really of just day in, day out, making those calls, sending those emails, following up. And I just had no time for that on top of having to take care of everything else.
Yeah. Was and I think that's a pretty familiar thing for me to hear. Like, hey, if I'm in the room with them, I'm gonna win the thing. If they're
Hmm.
qualified, I'm gonna win it. I think that's a very familiar thing. But you also acknowledge that other part of like, don't know how to get in the room. I don't know how to
Yeah.
take a stranger and get in that room and be able to work that magic. So when you thought about your transition into, working for an MSP, were there other roles you were considering?
I thought something like a sales engineer could be
Mhm.
exciting.
Yep.
For sure. I thought like just, where I didn't have to, do the hunting, do the farming, any of that, but like just come into the room, be able to talk the tech to the people. Like that's what it says on my LinkedIn, translating tech for humans. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of like the thing that I do is I love taking the really weird tech stuff and being like, so this is how we can make it work for you and make it work seamlessly and make it work invisibly. Like I don't want the tech to be the star of the show. I want it to be the multiplicative factor that helps you do your work, but it's not going to bother you in the meantime. So
Yeah.
the sales engineer was really exciting. Project engineer was really exciting. I ended up coming in as a technical alignment manager, which I
Mm,
really really like.
nice. Tell me more about that role.
So it's a role. It's like alignment is basically making sure that your clients are aligned in terms of value, in terms of their stack, in terms of what they need to be doing in the next 4 or 5 years. So it can
Mhm.
be stuff like, if you've got, 3 dozen clients, you might have 80% of them on your preferred firewall stack, but there's still that
Right.
20% that like, just bought their other one or like won't upgrade. And so
Mhm.
that alignment process is it's half sales, half technology, and just being able to drive better standards for the clients and get them, because obviously, I mean, we all know like the more standardized your stack is, the better off you are. You're spending less money, you're doing less training, all of that. So the TAM role is really about maximizing, kind of like you said with your friend. If he had just maximized what he could out of that $500,000 he was doing, he
Mhm.
would have been able to do so much more. He would have, if he could, cut the cost of the inefficient stack of the weird onesie twosie that doesn't quite fit in, of that one all Mac shop, if you're optimized for all PCs, like getting them all playing roughly the same kind of game, uh, gets you operating so much more efficiently.
Yeah, that checks out. Being in technology as long as you have, even as a kid, you've seen so much transition from where we were with racks of servers and
Hmm.
hosting your own exchange to things going to cloud and antiviruses evolving into endpoint security and
Hmm.
the RMMs and now we're into these RPAs, that robotic process automation, and we're getting into more automation tools and we're getting into AI. Like what's your take on it? And here's my take, and you tell me how wrong or right I am. The last 5 years feel like things are escalating so much faster than the 15 years before that. I feel like it's
Sure.
just gotten. Does that check out as a true
Hmm.
technologist? That's not me. As a true technologist, I feel like this last 5 years has just been wildly fast.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
the last 2 years compared to the last five, compared to the last
Mm.
10, it's just
Yeah.
it's been off the charts. And there is, my friends and colleagues will always ask, I guess non-IT friends will ask, how'd you learn how to do this? And it's like, I mean, I went to college. I got a, degree in computer information systems and IT management, but like I hardly use that stuff.
Mhm.
The stuff that I use every day is stuff I learned while doing it. Like you cannot come into IT today with a skill set. Like
Mm,
you have to know how to learn is going to be your
mhm,
number one skill, because everything you just learned is going to be different 5 years down the road. And everything that you think you know how to do now is going to be out the window. So the biggest skill you have is knowing how to learn, how to reevaluate, how to pivot well.
That's that I've never heard it put that way. I like that a lot. And with that said, you've been an MSP long enough, you've been an IT professional long enough. What I think I see the writing on the wall here is that um, the stack of managed services is becoming, somewhat of table stakes. It's, hey, of course you have this foundational stack of tools protecting and ensuring access, to the point where clients and end users are now kind of like, okay, I get it. Couple thousand a month, you guys, watch some stuff, and if something breaks, I call you, you fix it, and it's all covered. Okay, cool, got it.
Hmm.
I think the writing is on the wall that the clients are going to need more and different, need different, not more. They're going
Hmm.
to need that conversation around business process automation. They're going to need that
Right.
conversation of how to, integrate AI into their systems to be more effective. What do you think? Is that moment come, or is it still a few years away? What do you think?
I don't think it's come yet. I think
Mm,
like I don't know what names I can name, but all of us deal with this very large company and sell their licenses and use their
mhm,
servers and desktop OSs, right?
mhm,
And they have been pretty clear about not really playing the same kind of ball that we want to play.
right.
A lot of MSPs are feeling that pinch with the new way licensing is done, and it seems pretty clear the writing's on the wall. It's not here yet. It's beginning though, that we're going to get squeezed out of
Mhm,
um, being the ones who buy the licensing and get it for clients and take care of all that kind of stuff. Even like the level one support, I think is going to get gobbled up.
mhm,
Um, so if all you do is buy licenses and provide, a backup, that's not going to cut it. You are like you said, you're gonna have to get into the process automation. You're gonna have to integrate yourself into your clients' businesses to help them grow. That's going to be the way you stick around.
And we can certainly talk names, and I again, not being a true technologist the way that you and many of my colleagues are, I'm always talking a little above my pay grade. But you look at Microsoft, and I remember the talk track around 2010s was, wow, Microsoft is really making this hard for us to sell licenses. They're changing
Hmm.
things all the time. That wave of everything going cloud based was just earth shattering for so many MSPs, and they adapted and
Yeah.
they carried on. Um, when I look back, it's like, oh, Microsoft is playing a decade long game.
Hmm.
Back
Yeah.
then, that was just phase one of getting everything to cloud, solving their licensing issue around people having pirated versions of access and all that. That was
Hmm.
all they were playing the long game. I can't speak any sort of authoritatively about, like, Intune, but when I talk to some folks, they're like, "Oh, yeah, Intune is here to take our jobs away eventually, and whatever the faults and weaknesses are in it today, it'll be amazing, so we all have to elevate up because they're coming for
Hmm.
us." Then you start hearing other people talking about the internet providers. It's like, they own a large part of the network. They're gonna become more involved, which
Hmm.
just kind of pushes MSPs. If any of that is true, it does force the hand of the MSP to say, well, how long can I hang on to that? How can I build a moat around that? But then also, what can I be doing for my clients next? I think we've spent the last 15 years talking about value add and talking about consultative selling, and I can tell you that that just isn't happening to the scale that we all want to say it is. So I'm really curious about Is it going to be senior folks like you that say, I can talk to a business owner, I can talk to a CFO, and I can talk business process? Or is it going to be the guy who's a level two tech suddenly is forced into that? Or is it going to be guys like you and me are going to get replaced by 22-year-old MBA students? It just, the technology is secondary. It's the business process, foremost. I mean, you got any thought? Have you considered this much? Hopefully you haven't, but maybe you have.
Not a ton, no.
Mm.
I think like your example of everything going in the cloud in 2010, 2015 is super apt because like everyone who came out of whatever technical college with a Microsoft Exchange certification, what are they doing with that now?
All right.
No one's running local Exchange servers, and if you are, like, be good luck.
Yeah.
And so all that skill set that was once so important is just out the window, and like the only skill set there's really gonna be is the skill set in pivoting, in finding
Mhm.
out what's next, and being able to learn how to do that one thing, and then trashing it all 3 years down the line and doing something else.
All right. Right. No, absolutely. And that's to your point earlier. It's like your biggest skill set is your ability to learn.
Yeah,
So I think that just further exemplifies that. So being, in front of as many, end user clients as you are today, what's just the vibe out there? Are the clients asking about AI? Are they asking about automation?
absolutely. Yeah.
And at kind of what level? At kind of the hey, this thing looks interesting. I use ChatGPT all day. What else can I do? Or are some of them way further ahead saying, I know what I want to do with it? Like what are you seeing?
So there's it's a lot and kind of everywhere in between a lot of different things.
Mhm,
Um, you have companies that are getting AI consultants to come in and build them a $15,000 chat GPT wrapper.
mhm,
You've got people who are just buying their own licenses for OpenAI and pasting their whole company document system into there. There's ones that are going Microsoft Copilot or Ignite Copilot. Like there's a lot of different ways to do it. I haven't seen anything that's been super, super successful yet because
mhm.
it's all we are a few years deep into it, but I think it's still at its infancy in a way that we haven't really found like the killer use cases for it that aren't just like summarize this email or make this presentation.
Mhm,
There's a lot of that, and so like some of our clients are using it to like generate proposals.
mhm.
Take a look at these past 5 proposals and make up a new one that offers X, Y, and Z new things. And sure, you've saved yourself a few hours, but I don't know that that's like a transformative thing that's going to like
Right.
change the whole way your business works. It just
Mhm,
means that, unfortunately, what it means is that your like third year engineers aren't like are kind of pulling up the ladders behind the second and first year engineers because
mhm,
the the ways a lot of these tools are sold, it's like, yeah, you can get people to, this tool will do the job of 3 first year engineers, and they're not getting jobs, and so like you only get third year engineers after you have first and second year ones. They move up, and like it's this cycle that it feeds itself and will grow only what you put into it. And the AI stuff, I think, is cutting the legs out from a lot of things,
mhm.
and is going to make it so that you don't have that talent cycle anymore. And you don't like you're going to find very few old people at the very top wondering where's everyone else.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's interesting. Is this the type of conversations are these the types of conversations you have, with your colleagues within the MSP? Are you guys kind of, group, thinking about this, conversating about this, or is it still kind of far enough away that, hey, we have a job to do right now. Let's just focus on that.
It's a little of both. I mean, we definitely leverage AI products in the work that we do on the
Mhm,
front end, on the back end. We help our clients with it. We have you can use AI in like ticket routing and management. in suggesting the next thing to do. I use it when programming. I've got a Copilot license when I'm writing PowerShell scripts. It helps me out there. So like we're using it, but like not in a like this is going to change everything kind of way. And
Right.
I think we're still a few years away from that. I mean, we definitely see that it is going to change everything, but not in the way that I think we hope it will.
Right. 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 All right. Yeah, it's fun to have these chats because it's there. I'm beginning to see some common thread, and I think that hey, it's very case by case right now. It's using AI, using automation to solve a problem. It's not a systematic way of thinking
Hmm.
just yet. So
Right.
is it you've got a lot of career left in you? Are you
I
going to
hope
have to
so.
be leading that charge, where do you think you're going to fit into, Gen 3 here?
I think I mean it's coming whether we want it or not. I think that there's no stopping it at this point. And again, it's just going to be one of those things of either you learn to deal with it, you learn how to use it, how to sell it, how to work it, or you don't. But
Yeah,
it's gonna come. Like hanging on to not doing AI it's like hanging on to an exchange server. Like
yeah,
you just don't do that.
right. Oh, that's
And
that's great.
to the degree that I'll be leading the charge, I don't know that there's much to lead quite yet, but I'm definitely keeping my eye on it.
Yeah, good for you. Well, excellent, David. Well, it's so good to catch up with you and hear your journey from, starting out trunk slamming, building this business, realizing it's not for you, and saying, "Hey, there is life after this. There is a great
Hmm.
life after this." So,
There's an
I guess it
amazing life after this.
is
Yeah.
an amazing life after this. So why don't you give us your kind of message to the people who are kind of feeling trapped in that business or feeling stuck and just getting a little bit anxious about what their next move could be.
I think the greatest thing is that like the hustle every day millionaire grind set, you gotta make it, failure is not an option kind of thing. It works for some people and that's great. But like failure is an option and that's okay. And it's not like failure. It's a pivot. It's a change. It's doing something else that aligns with you better. And that is like, what can be better than finding out what works well for you, you know?
That's
So
right. That's beautiful.
there is a life. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. And that is okay.
That's
That's the biggest thing is just asking yourself, what if it's okay if this happens?
outstanding. Well, listen, somebody needed to hear that, so I
I
appreciate
hope
you
so. Yeah.
saying
I
it.
hope it helps.
Right on. And everyone else watching, hey, leave a comment. Tell us your story. Tell us your moment of transitioning or why you'll never be the guy that has to transition, that you're never going to give up. Tell us a story. Give us a like, a share, a subscribe if we earned it. And David, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All
You
right.
take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.